This is a film about the closure of Betteshanger coal mine and one man's efforts to record the event for posterity.
That filming was made on the closure of Betteshanger. They announced the closure a week before they actually... Joey Dickinson was the head of the NUM. He went into a meeting. We all knew this meeting was taking place. They'd come down from London. There was 6 or 7 different cars, all some with chauffeurs. They were all at a meeting. But I came up the pit early and I was putting my lamp in. I came out and Joey Dickinson came out of the main office, head down, looked. I said, "What's up, Joe?" He says, "They're closing us at the weekend. We're closing, we're finished." There were tears in his eyes. I said, "Joe, it would make no difference to you if you worked the weekends or you didn't work the weekends." He said, "They're going to close us." And he walked away. We all knew, all the officials knew, basically, that they closed so many in the country, they weren't going to keep 4 pits in Kent open, were they?
The mine stopped producing immediately, but a skeleton team stayed on to close it down, making it safe and salvaging equipment. Here's Peter, nearest to camera, with 2 of his colleagues at that time.
During the closure, they were given a date to salvage what they can out of the pit. I was with Jimmy Davis, myself, with the 2 overmen. He was on the afternoon nights and I was days and afternoons, and we've seen it through. And we made sure everything, because you still had miners to go underground to take the big machinery, whatever they wanted out. And while it was going on, I thought to myself, I've never seen a closure of a pit. So while I was doing my duty, I walked around with a camera and I would photograph. That's why it was so broken up, and that was taken over a period of 2 months, I suppose.
Those television, is this sound as well?
Yes.
Yeah, they're looking for you. This is the first time this man has been caught on TV.
You've got a guilty past somewhere.
Here, have a cup of tea. Cheer up, Frank. Frank Young cut the last rope.
Who cut the last rope? Come on. Who am I going to tell Frenchie you cut the last rope?
I cut it.
Peter even took footage underground, despite the fact that cameras were not permitted down the mine.
I can't get sacked twice because we had already given our notice we were going. I took my camera underground and I just took a little photograph of the number 1 bottom. That was all. So I didn't want to do too much just in case it bounded back, because the manager had seen I was doing this.
Peter was a good person to be chronicling the last days of Betteshanger pit. He had worked there off and on for many years and had done his mining training there at a very young age.
First days at the pit, I was 15 when he actually went. You go through the training gallery with instructors and you get guided underground. And they taught you hand shovel, how to use a hand shovel, how to set a prop. And once you're 16, you were allowed to break off and go up into manual work with the men. But you're only on menial jobs. And I was sitting on a switch. When that conveyor stops, you stop your switch, and that got boredom. By then I was going on to 17 and a half, and I thought, I've had enough of this, so I'm going in the army.
Peter spent 6 years in the army, but returned to Betteshanger in 1965 to work on development, developing new areas for mining. While he was working there, he witnessed an event which involved someone he was at primary school with, and which again persuaded him to leave.
And they said, quick Peter, there's an electrician being electrocuted. It would be about the length of this room away. We worked on him giving him artificial respiration. And 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, at the rate he was saying it. Then we got a tap on the shoulder, it was the doctor. It wasn't until they stood back that they said it was John Hogg. And I never recognised him. Blue lips, black, the blackness of it. Never recognised it was John. As soon as I said it was John Hogg, I burst out crying. And I walked out the pit, and the pit stopped my money for that day.
Peter left Betteshanger once again, and this time went to work in Saudi Arabia. But the call of the pit was strong, and he found himself back there in the late 1970s, now in a position of some responsibility. A deputy, an overman, head of a department, in charge of all the belts. And so it was that he was in a position to take film of the shutting down of the mine. He recorded the moment of the final switch off.
You've now got to make sure that they're all nice. I know. They've all gone up. You've got to do the other bit. I'll rack it out. Yeah.
The filling of the shaft with stone. And finally, the felling of the headgear above the shafts. So what became of Peter when the mine was closed? Peter confesses that he was concerned because he was over 50 and there were a lot of people out of work. He went for an interview at Wiggins Teep, the paper mill in Dover, more in hope than expectation.
And he said, you've got the job. At the interview, any questions? And I said, well, there's a lot of youngsters, I'm 50 odd, why are you taking them? He said, the Channel Tunnel has took all our youngsters away. We want the more staid person. And looking at your CV, you've had a responsible job, you seem to be a responsible person. So you got the job.
Peter's wife Jackie has recently been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He, their son, 2 daughters and the wider family have been doing their best to support her.